So let's dive into a question that really gets to the very core of faith. Where does an infinite God actually choose to make his home? We're going to explore this idea of God's true dwelling place. It's this huge cosmic mystery, but the answer is incredibly personal. I mean, think about it. If the entire universe isn't big enough to hold God, then where could his chosen residence possibly be? Well, the answer isn't somewhere out there in the cosmos. It's actually much, much closer. Okay, so first, let's just try to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of God's presence. It's something that even the wisest people in history have wrestled with. Now, get this. King Solomon says this at the dedication of the magnificent temple he had just finished building. He poured everything into creating this incredible physical house for God, only to have this profound realization right then and there that no building, no matter how spectacular, could ever be God's true home. And that right there is the key. While God is, of course, everywhere, his chosen way of dwelling with us isn't about being boxed into a place. It's about being connected to a person. It's all about relationship. And that changes everything, doesn't it? It means our connection to God isn't really found in a location, but in the state of our own heart. So, if God's presence is all about relationship, well, that means there's another side to this whole equation, our own deep-seated desire to connect with him. This brings us to the yearning of the soul. You know that feeling. The Psalms call it an interior hunger. It's that deep down ache, that spiritual longing we all feel sometimes, that's pulling us towards something more than what we can see. It's the soul just pining for its real home. Oh, I just love this image from Psalm 84. It's so simple, but so profound. Just like a little bird instinctively knows how to find a safe place to build its nest, our souls have this instinct, this yearning for a place of safety and belonging right there with God. But here's where we run into a very human problem. There's a real danger that our search for God can get, well, sidetracked. It's a trap that any of us can fall into, where the outward signs of faith are all there, but the inner fire has kind of gone out. Jesus talked about this directly. He pointed out this huge contrast. On one side, you have God's actual commands, which are all about the condition of our heart, things like being pure and honoring our family. But then, on the other side, you have human traditions that can easily become these empty rituals, like getting obsessed with whether or not your hands are ceremonially clean. Wow, I mean, that is just such a powerful statement. It's a serious warning against worship that's just for show. It's so easy to say the right words, to go through all the right motions, but the real question God is asking is, where is your heart? That question just cuts through all the noise and asks us to really look at the why behind what we do every day. So what this all boils down to is this. According to the gospel, true impurity doesn't come from breaking some external rule. No, it comes from an unconverted heart, a heart that isn't genuinely and truly turned toward God. Which, of course, leads us to the big question. If just going through the motions isn't enough, what is the path forward? How do we fix this disconnect between our actions and our hearts? And the answer? It's not a new, complicated set of rules. The answer is love. And we can see this played out perfectly in the life of one of the great saints. Saint Scholastica lived by this Benedictine principle, ora et labora, which means prayer and work. Now, this wasn't just about having a good schedule. It was a whole way of life that pushes back against empty ritual. It means your work becomes a kind of prayer, and your prayer fuels your work. For her, faith wasn't something she just did at a certain time of day. It was woven into the very fabric of her life, connecting her devotion with every single thing she did. Her life is just this incredible example that true holiness, the real deal, isn't about meticulously checking off a list of rules. It's about building an interior life of faith that just naturally overflows into love and charity for other people. See, love is what gives the law its meaning. And this is where it all comes together, right? We've come full circle. If God's dwelling is relational and the goal is a heart that's full of love, then how do we actually become that truth dwelling place for God? How do we become a living temple? The Catechism has this beautiful definition of the heart. It calls it the dwelling place where I am, where I live. It's our truest self, our innermost core. And that is precisely the place where God wants to be. Not in a temple made of stone, but right there in the center of our being. Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do we cultivate this interior fidelity? Well, here are a few practical steps. First, pray from a place of real, sincere love, not just out of habit.
Second, make your obedience to God an act of love, not just a chore or a duty. And third, and this is the most important one, consciously surrender your heart. Make it a place where God is truly, genuinely welcome. And that leaves us with one last very personal question to reflect on. Is my worship, my prayer, my daily life, is it an expression of genuine love for God, or has it just become a habit? The answer to that question really determines whether we are truly a dwelling place for the Lord. Thank you for watching.